Hi, my name is David Risley, and I'm the webmaster behind webbyonline.com and the president of PC Media. Today I'm going to do a quick presentation talking about the strategy for interlinking your websites. Now, the reason that I talk about this is because I have a few websites, and my tendency is basically to link them together. I have webbyonline.com, I've got PC Mechanic, which is at pcmech.com, and a few others. And like I said, my instinct is to link them together so that I can use one to promote my others. But what's the problem with that? Well, one of the problems is that search engines like links from other websites but can tell when they are owned by the same webmaster. They have multiple resources to find this information out, such as the IP address and who is. For those of you that don't know, the IP address is the technical mapping, the technical way that a website is found. It is a series of numbers, which I'll show you in just a little bit, that represent the actual way that your website comes up. The domain name that we use is actually a go-between. It's actually something that allows the website to be rememberable by us human beings, but it basically translates over into the IP address. Who is simply the database of all the domain names on the internet, and when you look up a who is record on a particular domain name, you find out who owns it. So let's head over to my sites. This is webbyonline.com. You can see up here the IP address of webbyonline.com. If you head over to PC Mechanic, which is my other largest website, you'll see the IP address for PC Mechanic. They're fairly similar, and the thing is with these search engines is that they're smart enough to look at these IPs and tell that they're coming from the same box, which in this case they are. If you look at webbyonline.com here, you'll see over here I've got my other sites, BuzzScreen, Mirror Server, and a few others. Now this, actually I'm going to be changing based on some of my current research, but I'm linking to these other sites, and they are all on the same server. And the thing is, Google, Yahoo, and some of these major engines can tell that they're all on the same server, and they don't really like that. Basically what it comes down to is that links need to mimic nature, and if they don't, it's not going to help much with your SEO, which is search engine optimization. Naturally, sites will link to things that are relevant and things that their users will find interesting. Linking to sites that are not relevant, and especially when the links are all reciprocated, makes no sense and it's not a natural thing. And let's look at these pictures. You'll see the one on the left is clearly of little benefit because every single site is linking to every other single site, and that's just not a natural occurrence. It's not something that would normally happen. Whereas on the right, you have a series of websites, some link to others, some don't link to others, and it's not necessarily all reciprocated, so that this is more of a natural occurrence. And the search engines, when they spider all these websites, are going to see, oh, okay, they're not all linking to each other. This is probably more natural, and it will tend to give you better rankings. So what you got to do is think about it. Sites of completely different topics would not usually link to each other. It just isn't natural. For example, PC Mechanic, that is a computer-related website. It's not really natural for it to be linked to webbyonline.com. I mean, they are of the same owner, which is myself, but yet one discusses internet business and the other talks about computers. And even though they are slightly related because they are, technology related, they're not really directly related. It'd be like a site about pharmaceutical drugs linking to a site about dogs or something just off the wall like that. And if the only commonality between them is that they have the same owner, it doesn't make any sense. Reciprocal links are therefore of really limited value today. I mean, when you go out there and you get reciprocal links built to your website, I mean, it does help. It will bring people in if you do it correctly, but the value in terms of search engines is really not as great as some might think that it is. It will generally bring the spiders over, that will spider your website, but you cannot expect necessarily that you're going to just get up in the rankings simply because all these sites are linking to you, simply because they're reciprocal, and the search engine spiders can see that. What might help the end user might not necessarily make Google happy. And that's one of the things you need to keep in mind, is that this is not a black and white thing, which I'll go over in a little bit. Basically, you need to balance the demands of a search engine with the demands of your end users. Sometimes it might be beneficial for your end user to be able to easily click over to another website that you might have, even though it may not make the search engines that happy. So again, it's a trade-off. So should you cross-link? Well, what it comes down to is, are the sites related, other than the fact that you own them both? And will it help the user to cross-link? In my case, there might be some user benefits to linking PC Mechanic and WebMeOnline.com. There's certainly a benefit to me linking my PC Mechanic website to PCMechTV.com. They're very closely related. The content is very similar, and that makes sense. Now, if I were linking PC Mechanic over to a political site, for example, the two things have absolutely nothing to do with each other, and I would take that into serious account if I were to consider cross-linking those. Rules of thumb is, don't obsessively cross-link all your websites. Try to link to the related websites. And you need to imitate nature. If the things are related, you're more than likely to be able to cross-link them, and it will not be penalized by Google or the other search engines. But don't do it necessarily site-wide. For example, you wouldn't want to link to all of your websites on all of your pages of all of your websites, because it's obvious cross-linking, and the spiders, believe me, can find that in a heartbeat. And it's just not going to help you out.